With the last title update for Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak behind us, it would seem that the story for Komura Village has finally come to an end. And with that end, we got quite the impressive final hunt to go along with it. The sudden arrival of the storm dragon itself, Amatsu, signals the conclusion of a bit of unsolved Komura Village lore. You see, for a while now, we've known that Yomogi, the Dango girl, was an orphan, but until now, her story was somewhat mysterious. There were hints of a greater story here and there, but now the full picture has been painted for us. Yomogi's family was murdered by an Amatsu, probably this Amatsu we see right here. Yomogi's last link to her family is her caretaker, who happens to be the merchant for Komura Village. In some sort of fit of revenge, the merchant tries to fight the Amatsu by himself. This cutscene is pretty heart-wrenching, to be honest. Seeing the normally happy-go-lucky and jovial Yomogi come to tears at the sight of her caretaker facing off with this monster really pulls on the heartstrings. Now, I'm not much for Monster Hunter's story, so when I play a Monster Hunter game, story isn't like something I really pay attention to, but even I was taken back by this cutscene. Seeing Yomogi break down in tears at the thought of her caretaker sharing the same fate as her family, dude, that's so good. What a great cutscene, Capcom. But in Monster Hunter fashion, everything's gonna be okay because our hunter shows up to take on whatever threat that the world throws at us. And of course, this cutscene, heart-wrenching, beautiful cutscene, has to be destroyed by Master Utsuchi's goofy-ass ninja running. This man looks like he's a 12-year-old running to recess. Am I wrong? Okay, let's talk about the fight itself. The fight itself is much better than earlier appearances of the Amatsu in the Monster Hunter franchise, at least in my opinion. Now, I've said this before, but Rise is just 5th gen Monster Hunter Portable 3rd, and this becomes the most apparent here. If you didn't know, Monster Hunter Portable 3rd was a Japanese exclusive 3rd gen Monster Hunter game released on the PSP. Like Rise, the Amatsu plays a huge role in the story of the game, and the game had a very Japanese aesthetic. In the game, the Amatsu was an alright hunt. The Amatsu also reappeared in Generations Ultimate, and again, the fight was just alright, nothing crazy in my opinion. I think Amatsu was more memorable for its appearance and its ability to fly around than anything else. Not saying it's a bad monster or a bad hunt, just saying it's not really that impressive. It doesn't stick out in my mind, you know? However, in Monster Hunter Rise, the Amatsu really gets to shine. In the beginning of the hunt, the Amatsu feels very similar to past games, but that's until it goes enraged. After which, Capcom really shows us what's possible for this monster. From quick tail swipes and swift tackles, to air vortexes and multiple lightning base attacks, Amatsu really starts to earn that title as the Dragon of Storms. Now, for the sake of simplicity, let's refer to Amatsu before it goes enraged as its first phase of the hunt. The first phase, to me, seems like Capcom saying, yeah, this is the Amatsu you remember. Nothing remarkable, just Amatsu, right? Just the Amatsu you know and love. But once the monster goes into second phase, right? I feel like Capcom is showing us how far they've come. They took Amatsu and ramped it to a whole new level. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the old school Monster Hunter games. Freedom Unite is my favorite Monster Hunter game. However, even within that game, I feel that some of the monsters were lacking in their fights. I mean, Monster Hunter Team has put so much love into their monsters, no doubt, even back then. But what I'm saying is that seeing what they've done to Amatsu and this fight makes me so hyped for the future. For me, it feels like they had so many ideas for these monsters back in the day, but because of limitations of hardware and software and things like that, they couldn't really bring these monsters to life in the way they may have wanted to. And I don't know how to explain it, but it feels like this Amatsu fight is more alive than it's ever been before. You know, it's kind of like you have a drawing in your mind, right? Like you want to draw a picture, and in your mind, this is how the picture looks. But then when you get down to drawing it, it comes out not so perfect, kind of wonky. I feel like older Monster Hunters have these like glimpses of inspiration, right? But now with hardware and software being as strong as it is, Monster Hunter Team seems to be able to bring these monsters to life in a whole new way. I can think off the top of my head 2 monsters that I would love to see get this kind of treatment. The Yamatsu Kami and Shin Garen. I absolutely adore both of these monsters. But going back to hunt them, yeah, well, the hunts haven't aged that well. I'll just say that. That's why I would love to see a modern twist on these monsters and their fight. It's kind of hard to put into words, but the Amatsu fight in Monster Hunter Rise just feels right. Seeing as the Kimura side of the story's last monsters were Narwa and Ibushi, these like storm-based flying monsters, having Amatsu come back as the ultimate storm, I think it was a great pick for a last monster to wrap up Monster Hunter Rise Kimura Village's story, you know? I think I'm just rambling at this point. Now, I wanted to point something out that I don't really have proof of, but maybe someone can clear this up in the comments. Allegedly, the Zenogre coming out to fight the Amatsu in the Amatsu fight was supposed to be some sort of reference to the Universal Studios Japan ride, but I couldn't find proof of any of this. The only thing I could find was video footage of the Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate ride in Universal Studios Japan. But if that is a, you know, reference to the USJ ride, then that's cool. Thumbs up, I guess. Monster Hunter Rise is wrapping up, and with that, I find myself looking back at these past 2 years. I'm not only satisfied with the purchase of this amazing game, but I'm also very thankful of all the friends I've made playing Monster Hunter Rise. And in a way, Rise was a part of the reason why I got into making YouTube videos again. I say all this to say thank you, Capcom, I guess. I love Monster Hunter, and man, seeing what they did to an old school monster like Amatsu gives me so much hope for the future. But that's just my thoughts on it. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, please leave a like. If you want more of this, please sub. And see you next week. Okay, thank you. Goodbye.